Today is April the 22nd, and they just came out with the Sony 50-150 f2 GM lens. I have some problems with this. It's a great lens, looks cool. I watched a couple videos on it, but there's some big things to this and some reasons why I'm asking why. Like, why are you doing this, Sony? Like, there's other things that we could be doing when it comes to lenses than this 50-150 f2. That kind of fits into like a niche little pocket. I have right here my 7200 GM, $1,000 cheaper than the new 50-150 f2, and a lot more versatile. And I'm going to get into why here in 1 second. But first, I'm going to go through kind of the list comparing these two lenses and why I think that the 7200, it still makes a ton of sense, even though they just come out with something like this. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to go down the list here and just go through everything, like comparison wise. Obviously, if you watch any of the other videos, they're going to go into much deeper detail of certain things. So obviously, focal length, 7200, 50-150, you have more versatility on this guy when it comes to that. Maximum aperture, f2 versus an f2.8. That is where things start to change a little bit when it comes to what you get as far as low light capabilities. Each full stop decreases or increases the aperture, so it doubles or halves the amount of light hitting the sensor. f2 is one stop lighter, or f2.8 is one stop darker, but letting in almost twice as much light is the f2 version. So there is some validity to that. f2 is going to give you more low light capabilities. Just like running like an f1.2 versus an f1.4, the f1.2 will let in more light, obviously, than the f1.4 will. So like the 50 f1.2 versus the 50 f1.4, there is a significant amount of light difference between those two lenses. Is it worth the extra $1,000? I don't know. That's up to you. Minimum aperture is f22 on both lenses, so no difference there. Lens mount, obviously, E-mount. Image stabilization. This has built-in image stabilization. The f2, the 50-150 does not have image stabilization. On a lens like this, at 50, you'll be fine. But when you're getting to that 150 mark, with no image stabilization, you're gonna wanna have a camera that has image stabilization built in, which is what I went off on my video yesterday about, or if you're watching this later down the road, the video about my FX6 Mark II, potentially down the road having image stabilization built into it. Then you can watch that video that goes into detail of that. Also, I'll have links to all these things down in my bio. If you want to buy any of these products I'm talking about, they will be listed down below. They are affiliate links. They do help out the channel. So if you do buy anything, make sure you click on one of those little links if you want to help us out. Image stabilization is a huge one. Optical steady shot built into the 7200, and it makes a huge difference. When you're shooting with this lens at 200 millimeters and you turn it on or you're taking a photo, the image stabilization kicks in, and it works really well. I love this lens for that. So if I'm running an easy rig with my FX6 and this lens on it, it works flawlessly. I use it quite often when I'm doing documentary work because of how nice that is. Autofocus system, same. 4XD linear motors with floating focus. Both of these lenses have the same exact autofocus system built into them as far as the motors go. Aperture blades, 11, both of them same. Optical design, so this is where this changes a little bit. So we have our 19 elements in 17 groups on the 50-150, and then 17 elements in 14 groups on the 7200. There is more glass, more robust feeling to the 50-150. It's going to be a heavier lens, and actually have the weight here. It's 2.9 pounds versus 2.3 pounds. So it's not a huge difference, but it is significant. You will feel it. So where this makes a difference is the 19 in 17 groups on the 150. That's to support that fast aperture. You have to have more glass to get rid of a lot of that, to maintain that sharper image in that lens. So that's why there's more lens groups in that lens, thus making it heavier. Okay, next one is the minimum focusing distance. So the 50-150 on the wide side, so on the 50 millimeter side, you're at 1.3 feet. Tele side, so 150, you're at 2.3 feet. So that's a pretty big difference from the 7200, which is at both sides 15.7 inches. So about 1.3 feet, something along those lines, from 70 to 200. So it's consistent across the whole thing, which is in my eyes a little bit, better when it comes to close focusing. So if you're getting that macro shot of the ring, or if you're, macro shotting something, this is going to get, not macro, it's not 1-to-1, but it's going to be a better close focus than the 50 to 150. Your maximum magnification, so it's 0.2 times on the 50 to 150 and 0.25 times on the 7200. Filter size, 95 versus 77. I don't know about you, but I've got a ton of 77 millimeter filter rings, as well as adapters and filters. Makes it easier to find things in the field. So if you lose something, forgot something, broke something, you can go find something very easy for the 77 millimeter versus a 95. You better, be cautious of that, because one, they're more expensive. Finding a 95 millimeter filter thread thing is more expensive. They are going to become more popular because that 28 to 70 f2 is 95, and then now this lens, the 50 to 150, is also 95. So those are both going to have that 95 millimeter filter thread, which will make it more popular overall. Let's go to length. Same length on both sides of it. So 7.9 inches, and that's going to be they're both internal zooming, so there's no extension of the lens. So they're both going to stay the same size, which is a pretty big deal when it comes to that 50 to 150. It's girthier, so it has more girth to it to fit those elements and make that optical design a little bit bigger. So they were able to keep that in the same footprint though, which is pretty cool. That is an achievement. Weight, we already talked about that, 2.9 pounds versus 2.3 pounds. Let's see here. Weather sealing. Yes. Tripod collar. So both of them have the same type of tripod collar where you can just remove this piece down here below. Pretty simple. You can't remove the actual collar itself from the lens, but you can remove the tripod mount on the bottom of it. Aputure ring. So both of them have the same setup as far as declicked or clicked aputure ring. So if I want to click that on, now I've got that on, and then off, same thing right there. Let's see here. So this is a big one. Your teleconverter capability. So I have a teleconverter for this lens here, because I like to run this guy at the like 140 to 400 millimeter range. It does change my aperture from a 2.8 to a 5.6, I believe, across the whole thing. So it's a 5.6 consistent aperture across the entire lens. I'm pretty sure it's 5.6. I'll double check that and I'll put that here if it's corrected. If not, then I'm right. So whatever. The fact that you can run a 1.4 or a 2 times teleconverter with the 7200 and not with the 150, this 50-150, makes this more versatile. Just what it is. And buying these together is still going to be cheaper than buying the 50 to 150, which we'll get to in a second. The teleconverter capability is a huge one for me personally, because I like to have that capability for doing wildlife, or if I'm shooting something like a trade show or a convention or something like that, and I need that extra zoom. I don't have to worry about, and then on the FX6 or A7S III, you have that great low light. So 5.6 doesn't really matter in a well-lit or even mediocre lit environment. You can still get by with what you have on 5.6. Having that teleconverter capability, it makes a huge difference. And I honestly, I love it. I use it all the time. So that's why I have it. I use it. I don't think I would really enjoy having that. Price. Here comes a big one. This guy is, the 7200 is $27.98, and I think you can actually get it on sale. Double check this real fast so I can, no, not on sale right now, but you can do trade in, and sometimes they run little things for it. And if you buy this with the teleconverter, you can save a little bit of money also. So $27.98 for this lens. The 50-150 as it's coming out right now is $38.98, $3,898 US. If you're watching this in another country, obviously that's going to be inflated. It's going to be more. If you're in Europe, it's a little different. That's the price of a freaking camera, man. Like, I get it if maybe wedding photographers are going to gravitate towards this lens because they seem to love that f2 zoom capability lens, like this 28 to 70 f2. Like, that's a wedding portrait photographer, all day long. 50 to 150, wedding portrait photographer all day long. Those are two great lenses. You could probably get by with just those two lenses and two camera bodies for any kind of situation you're looking for, which I think is what they're trying to give you the capability to do. But for the majority of people, this doesn't make sense. And I'm a bit biased just because it's so much money. I mean, come on. $38.98. Like you could buy, you could almost buy an FX6 with that. You could buy this lens and like a, like a A6500 or A6400 or something like that camera, and even have more capability because it's a crop sensor with a full frame lens. There's so many, you get the extra reach is what I'm trying to say there. There's so many ideas that you could run with this. If Sony's trying to create lenses as a flex to show what they can do, then good on you. But if you're just trying to create lenses for the masses to buy at $38.98, this ain't it. I would much rather see like a 40 millimeter f1.4 or a 40 f1.2 or even a 40 f2, but in the same like G Master kind of way. I'm really into that 40 millimeter if you can't tell. Or even some like cooler, like obscure, this is kind of obscure, the 50 to 150, but some more obscure zoom lenses, maybe with an internal, you know what? Give me the 24 to 105 f2.8. If you want to give me the 24 to 105 f2, fine, but I'll take a 2.8 all day. I will buy that lens in a heartbeat. That is the best zoom range, a 24 to 105. I'll even take a 28 to 105 if you can't do a 24. 28 to 105 f2, f2.8 all day. Where's that lens? Like, give me that lens, Sony. Make it video and photocentric, clickless aperture, maybe even like a power zoom like the Canon one did. Something like that is a lens I think you'll sell way more of and do better with than the 50 to 150. But that's my 2 cents. That's where I'm at on this lens. Hopefully they'll come out with something like that in the near future. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, I'll use the 70-200. I love it. I'll continue to use the crap out of it because it's a great lens. So yeah, that's all I got on this lens. Links down below. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I love to know your thoughts on this lens, see what you kind of think. So I'll open it up to you guys. What you got? Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.